Who will marry? When will they marry? And who will have the most prosperous love life? Who will go through the greatest challenges and triumph? Who will be the richest? Who will have career changes and when? Who has the strangest and most unusual rare Palmer markings? Good, hello, my name is Palmist. I am the online palmistry reader, and in this video, I'm going to be reading the hands of all 7 members of BTS, and I'm going to be answering all of the questions that I've just posed. So let's begin to answer these questions. Now, let's start with money. Who's going to be the wealthiest? Well, I find that interesting because having read all of the palms of BTS now, I've come to the conclusion that actually none of them are all that materialistic. None of them are the classic kind of earth hands. None have actually square palms and short fingers. That said, some are more materialistic than others. First glance, Sugar's hand actually provides me with a sense of someone who is more materialistic than the rest. Most of them are far more inclined to towards prioritizing personal relationships, happiness, and health over any kind of material gain, and that includes Sugar as well. But overall, he's slightly more materialistic. Now, that's not to say that he's going to be the wealthiest, because actually, what I saw in J-Hope's hand was a significant sign of wealth in later life. However, J-Hope in particular doesn't really strike me again as someone who is materialistic. So this success, this prosperity to J-Hope could in fact be much more around a sense of happiness, a feeling of freedom. The right hand really reveals the practical, the material, the environmental, and the physical aspects of our lives. It is essentially what we have created, manifested physically from that which we have been given, which the left hand reveals. So, in a sense, it certainly is a big indicator as to who might be the wealthiest. It is the right hand, after all. So, the jury is out really a little bit here, but I would have to say, if I had to make a guesstimation, I would say J Hope will, in fact, be the richest member of BTS. But I don't believe that will be until the age of 53. I think that's when significantly his wealth will begin to rise. And if you watch my palm reading for J-Hope, you will know that I have predicted that he will, in fact, buy maybe more than one property abroad and perhaps even settle abroad, foreign settlements. So he will um, purchase property abroad at the age of around about 60. Second, to J-Hope, I believe Sugar will, in fact, be the second richest member. So moving on, who has overcome the most struggles, triumphs in their life? Now that's a very difficult question because we all perceive challenges in very different ways and we all tackle them in different ways. Nam, June, and JK, in fact, have significant difficulties in terms of overcoming their own emotionality. Uh, they're kind of so laser focused in their quest that they struggle to separate emotion and decision making. They are immensely passionate, and this can create some feelings of jealousy and possessiveness. And you will know this if you've watched my palm readings on Jungkook. I unfortunately mispronounced his name terribly. I'm very sorry about that. And Namjoon. Now, I'm going to get these things wrong because I don't know these guys. All that I know from about these guys is 95% at least from what I've seen in their hands. But, and this is a big but, I have to say what I saw in uh, the Min's hand, I actually forgot his name for a second then, was real feelings of personal struggles during childhood, as well as Jin. I saw this in, J Hope's hand as well. Significant kind of emotional struggles during childhood, and a feeling of a lacking of parental love, perhaps guidance. I have to say, J Hope's hands were for me the difficult, really the most difficult to read. I found it really difficult to get a read on him. particularly the mystery around his childhood. I'm going to get to the bottom of that one. Sugar, in particular, really struggles with his identity, his sense of self, um, as well as JK. He does as well, and there's real feelings of inadequacy in both Sugar and JK here. And this is because of the short Jupiter finger. And when you see it widened like this on Sugar's hand, you see it much more widened on the third basal phalanx of Jupiter. It's always compensation with kind of physical satiating, so drinking, drugs, womanizing, this kind of thing, to make up for, to compensate for these extreme feelings of low self-worth and inadequacy. Hai Hyung may struggle the most in relationships, as well as Ji Min. Ji Min has a strong need, a desire for love that may well see him get hurt in relationships. If I had to conclude here on this question, who is going to go through the biggest struggle? I would probably say JK. If you've watched my more recent kind of palm reading on him, you'll know that there is a shocking incident that occurs for him. I think I predicted 3940. Um, I'm still not 100% sure exactly what this is, but I do think it's going to be a significant obstacle in his path. Yeah. In terms of career changes, they all have obviously one thing in common. They've all worked with each other and they probably will still continue to in some way. But I have seen a significant coincidental correlation between all of their hands. And that is that in at the age of 35, 36, because they're all a similar age, I think, in around 4 years' time for all of them, there we go, let's just clarify, there will be significant career changes for all of them. And this leads me to the overall conclusion that, in fact, BTS will break up at that time. I don't think they will reform. I don't think they will continue working together at that time. I think they will all go their separate ways. Post 36, 37 for JK, there is a significant um, elevation in learning, a great sense of freedom, and his career rises towards Jupiter, a lot like J Hope. We saw this in J Hope's hand recently as well. His career line rises, arcs, curves towards Jupiter, the place of decision making, authority, expertise. Is it that they are both going to appear as judges or have a similar kind of role on panel shows, that kind of thing, talent shows, perhaps something like that? They may well end up becoming mentors and, masters in their field. Now, who will get married first? Who will have the most impactful, prosperous, happy, peaceful, loving marriage? Let's just start with the first person of BTS that I read the palms for and go through in order. Namjoon. Well, I have to say, after much deliberation, 34 for Namjoon. I really should sort of note here that although this is the potential for marriage. It might not necessarily be marriage, but it has all the hallmarks of it. It's a long-lasting, happy, safe, prosperous, loving relationship, and it is as strong as marriage. And I would think that this is marriage at 34 for Namjoon. Now let's move on to JK. Kind of confusing here because he's so passionate. These are really strong feelings for people in his life in future. I would say there is the distinct possibility for marriage at the age of 40 for JK, for Jungkook. For Tai Hyung, I'm gonna say 33, possibly. 33, 34 for Tai Hyung. It is not easy to get a good read on Jimin. What I really need is a good clear image of his right hand. I'm going to say early 40s for Jimin. That's what that kind of looks like to me. Early to mid 40s. I'm sorry, I can't be clearer. It's similarly difficult with Sugar here. Let me just see. Um, Again, I'm thinking more late 30s. His left hand, I'm going to say 38, late 30s, but I do think the more significant relationship in Sugar's life will be later on. Actually, it's the same for many of them, but I'm talking about their marriages here when they will first get married. Jin will also get married late 30s. I'm going to say about 38 as well. Although there is the potential here to get married at 34, it seems. So it could in fact be 34. J-Hope, I just cannot get a read on. I just can't. I'm sorry. Just an absolute mystery to me, this one. Yeah, I just don't know. And on that note of mystery, who has the most significant, rare, unusual signs, the rarest kind of Palmer markings? J Hope is absolutely up there for me. It's so much about J Hope's hands that I find very unusual, and I've read many many hands over the years. They're for me, this is a mystery I just have to get to the bottom of. And really, what I need is clarity. I need clearer images. I have a feeling that J Hope won't actually get married, but will have a relationship that has all of the hallmarks of marriage, just not on paper. As for when, I can't say because I just don't have the clarity here. I just don't have the detail. As for who will have the longest, not longest, but the most prosperous, happiest, most loving relationship, the strongest connection, I would think that is actually Taehyung. Um, for me, these relationship lines here are remarkably powerful, and they show just how they impact him emotionally, internally. This is his left hand. It really reveals just how powerful these relationships are and the strength of these connections. He is someone who falls in love hard and relatively easily as well. And so for Tai Hyung, I predict two immensely powerful loves in his life and potentially even two marriages. So who are we? Who I can't even remember now where we're at. Who was first on that list? I think it might have been. I can't remember now. One of them was 32, weren't they? Something like that. Or I can't remember. Early 30s. You tell me. Tell me in the comments. I'm not going to watch this back. Moving on. The rarest signs, the rarest, the most unusual Palmer markings. Nam June has, I love this image. It's just a wonderfully clear image. I've even got his skin ridge patterns. I can tell a great deal from dermatoglyphics in the hands. You get some real massive character, really specific character insights when it comes to the skin ridge patterns and skills as well. You can really tell a lot about a person by where their apexes lie on their mount, the little sort of triangular formations. There's one there. There's his one on the Mount of Jupiter there. I'm gonna have to do a video on this at some point anyway. But for me, one of the really rare things about Namjoon's hand here is this secondary appearance of what looks like a heart line here. It looks like a secondary heart line. It's very fragmented. It's on the left hand. Um, I can't help but get away from this is his heartline. It's joined onto his headline, and this is his headline here. It's joined onto his heartline. It's all one. It's all a simian line, which in itself is a very rare marking, and it shows, as I've already mentioned, an extreme sense of focus, passion, intensity, which can lead to jealousy and feelings of possessiveness in relationships, and need to control and absorb all-encompassing feelings, and that kind of inability to separate thought from feeling. The two are quite literally fused, heart and mind. But this kind of secondary fragmented kind of looking heartline is often seen on the hands of people with atrial fibrillation, um, irregular heartbeats, or in fact, people who have had heart operations. And actually, someone commented on my Namjoon video saying that he had a heart operation. Well, that makes sense. This is the left hand, though, and that's probably why I didn't come to that conclusion, because I just don't have the same clarity of his right hand images. Nam Jun likely believes in destiny. The way his fate line is so strong, it carves his palm in two. It kind of cuts the palm into like a spine of a book. His hand reveals itself in this way that he feels bound by destiny. His left hand shows us again feeling. So there's a strong sense of destiny and a strong sense of feeling and purpose. And actually, going back on myself a little bit here, his sun line is ridiculously strong here as well, and he may well be the second or third wealthiest member of BTS. And look, I'm getting caught up on the dermatoglyphics here. This is sarcasm, what's known as a loop of humor, but when it's at that particular angle, it's not extreme, but it's there. You know, he's a funny guy. I think there's so much humor between a lot of them. JK though, he has actually a simian line in both hands. Kind of got it wrong a little bit in his initial palm reading because I got one of Tai Hyung's images mixed in there. And as I say, I don't know these guys. So trying to find images online was difficult at first. I mean, I'm just going to hold my hands up here. I totally messed up there, but he does have a simian line in both hands, and that creates even more intensity, even more struggles internally with emotions. Now, it's extremely rare to have simian lines on both hands. Only about less than 1%, in fact, of people have this. But it really it creates if focused, if harnessed, this is an immensely powerful sign because it really shows how someone has um, if that passion is utilized, if their laser focused intensity is put to good use, they can achieve tremendous things. They are extremely huge achievers. People with simian lines are often leaders in some way as well. Hyung's crossing of his relationship lines here, I don't quite understand it. Not seen it before. Um, Again, this is another bit of a mystery. I want to get to the bottom of. I don't like a mystery. I mean, I love a mystery, in fact, but I don't like not being able to solve it. I am actually going to consult my mentor about this. But as I think I predicted in his hand, it's possible that there is a kind of a revisitation from a former love life. Maybe some wires get crossed there. I'm not entirely certain. This is a very internal thing as well, so it's not so much what's in front of him environmentally, so to speak, in terms of it being impacted quite literally. It could just be feelings here. I think this is for another video. I've got to get to the bottom of it. Taehyung's headline is remarkably unique on his right hand in the way that it takes a completely change of perspective. His mental outlook is there's almost a revelation, an epiphany here. There's something of a complete shift in his mental perspective. This is significant, although it's not. Uh, it's not a rare sign, but it is unique. One correlation I've made between all of the members is they're all so cautious. I suppose you don't get to where you are without being um, without really considering everything. There's no impatience or brashness. There's no risk taking there. They're all very sensible, very cautious. But to conclude here, in terms of unusual signs, rare signs, I have to say J-Hope is it just unbelievably um, rare Palmer marking here with this V here. This is known as the protection from vampires in Russian palmistry. You probably won't hear about this anywhere else online. In Russia, they don't joke about vampires. They've got something like 38 names for vampires. This is this formation, this V-like formation here in Western palmistry is said to provide a person with tremendous fortune. My interpretation on this is a little bit different because this is, in fact, instinct and insight, intuition. When we are finding ourselves in the right, carving the right opportunities, it's through opportunity. What is fortune, after all? It is circumstance. And we make a lot of those circumstances by utilizing our intuition and just, making the most of opportunities as and when they arise. J Hope is remarkably um, fortunate, and it's possibly because of his instincts. There's a secondary kind of family ring here. I can't understand this. The via mater, the mother line, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't really know what's going on. When I look at the combination of things in this hand, the overall hand shape is spectacular. You rarely see a water air hand mix like this. They are fairly rare in themselves anyway, but there's a real kind of unique blend of character and skills here. As well as that, the fate line stems from very low down on Pluto. There's a mole here where it wants to come from. This, for me, is a significant sign with a tremendous amount of mystery to it. I believe that J Hope was someone tremendously important, famous in a previous life, in fact, his most previous life. And I think he's come back with unfinished business. And I think that the path in which he has been um, on is not, it is his destiny, but for me, I just can't get my head around how there's this significant kind of poor misfortune that enabled greater fortune later on. It's like all the good luck was taken away from him, only for it to be given back to him in one burst, in order to provide him with this destiny. I just can't get my head around it. It's like the script for his life has been meddled with, um, and it's due to his previous life. I'm just absolutely fascinated by this person's hands, and there's so much more I want to learn. I get this impression, just like with Jin, that he was in some way maybe a king in a previous life, royalty in some way. And I feel like there's unfinished business there. And with his current path, his purpose, he has great power to influence others. And I feel he's going to end up in a place of high authority and will be able to call some shots and really change and influence people's lives and impact positively. And I feel that that's going to happen. For me, there are a combination of signs on this person's hand that I find really, really intriguing. One or two, on their own, not so much, but everything combined here, and that's what palmistry is. It's about holistic um, detective work. I'm just absolutely fascinated by J Hope's hand. So that for me, I think that he has the overall combination of rarest signs, but if in truth they all have very unique qualities about them. If you have enjoyed this video, please do subscribe. Consider becoming a member and learn with me more about palmistry. Consider booking a palm reading with me if you like. I'm booked up now till April, middle of April. Let me know what your thoughts are on this palm reading, on this combined palm reading hand analysis on all members of BTS. Let me know what your thoughts are. So to answer that last question, J Hope has the most mysterious fate to me. I'm amazed and I'm still mystified by his hands. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do subscribe and I shall see you on the next one. Let me know if you'd like me to read the hands of anyone else. If I get a lot of comments about one specific person, I will absolutely read that person's palms. This is your channel. You can carve the destiny of this channel. Just send me a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I will listen. I will always consider what everyone has to say. Thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see you on the next one.